on the road, right? We became RVPs in June of 2007. We opened our first office. The first day we were RVPs, that was my first office. I am literally standing in the corner, like the very far, that is what it looks like. Okay, it was literally like maybe 150 square feet, but it was ours, right? It was ours, and that's where we started. What were you saying? Yeah, there's another guy in there, right? It wasn't just me and my team, it was one of Assad's other RVPs, right? We were like sitting in there, we were best friends, man, right? Not because we wanted to be, but because we were physically 5 feet away from each other all the time, right? And, I mean, and you'll see, like, when we started building, I had 2 reps, me and her, right? And this is some of our RVPs at last convention on the floor. I mean, listen, you'll never know what could happen if you don't try, right? You'll never know what could happen if you don't try. When I saw this business, there were 4 things that I wanted to know. The first one was, is it a legitimate company? And they went through that today, right? Okay, New York Stock Exchange, 6 million clients. Okay, listen, that should be checked off your box tonight, right? The second thing I wanted to know was there a need for what this company did? Right? The last thing, I worked at the church, right? Everybody in the world that sold any sort of deal would come up to you trying to want you to sell it, right? I mean, you'd see them in the Miracle Juice people, and you'd like run into the bathroom to hide because you didn't want them to talk to you about the Miracle Juice that grows people's arms back for $199 a case, right? And it's going to be big, right? I didn't want to be involved in anything like that, right? I wanted to do something that people respected, right? And that there was an actual need for in the consumer marketplace, right? And obviously you saw that, right? The information that he shared this afternoon and this evening with you, right? I mean, people just don't know this. The third thing I wanted to know, right, was could I do it, right? Okay, like being in the NBA would be a great financial plan for me. I could make $20 to $30 million a year. It'd be incredible, right? The problem is I'm 5'11", I weigh 205 pounds, and I'm white, right? Okay, so that's wrong. That's not an option, right? Okay. So I want to know, hey, could I do it? And you guys saw this is a system, a duplicatable system that's been going on for 37 years. It's created more 6-figure earners than any other company in the history of American business, right? And the fourth question I wanted to know was, would it be worth it? I was tired of being told one thing and having another thing delivered to me, right? And I live in Detroit, and Detroit is big for what? What do you guys know about Detroit? They make what there? Cars, right? And you know, it's really sad to watch what has happened there. And the city right now is actually in bankruptcy. The city itself is the largest city in the nation's history to file for bankruptcy. And there's an emergency manager there, and the governor are going back and forth about people's pensions and all that stuff, because technically they could just wipe them out, right, with the bankruptcy. And you look at these guys that were sold a bill of goods, right? You come here to GM, you work for 30 years on the line, you stamp the bolt, you know, 80 million times in your career, and you can stop and we'll take care of you forever, right? And that was what had happened up until 2007 and 2008. And then they started taking these behemoths through bankruptcy. And I mean, I know people that every cent they had was in GM stock that went to zero. Their pensions have been renegotiated, bought out, said, hey, we were going to give you $5,000 a month. Now we're going to give you $2,500 a month, or a lump sum, take it or leave it, and your next offer is going to be worse. It's like deal or no deal, and your cases are going the wrong way with these people, right? But their whole lives were promised on this, and now they're not delivering. And I just wanted to know, hey, if I was going to put my time and effort and energy and my heart into something, I wanted to know that it would deliver for me, right? And since the day that I've been here, this company has under-promised and over-delivered for us. And you're going to see some of that tomorrow, right? I've got a bunch of pictures of stuff, and listen, I mean, you just can't explain it until you've lived it, right? You don't understand how it feels to go from here to here, right? Because of an opportunity that somebody presents you. I mean, we're grateful every day. Listen, we're not any better than anybody here, and these guys aren't any better than anybody here. We just plugged into the system and worked it, right? And the system is what delivered it to us, right? Okay? I want you to think about these things, and I want you to think about this. A lot of you here are new tonight, and Brandon did a great job talking about the compensation, about getting started. I want to take it a little step further with you, okay? Because listen, some of you right? You get one or two real opportunities in your lifetime. Like a real opportunity that if you did it, it would work for you. The rest of the stuff is just garbage. It's never going to work, right? Okay? And you're being presented with an opportunity tonight, right? And how you decide on this is going to change your life one way or the other. It is, right? We're presented with opportunities and decisions all the time in our life, and how we make that decision determines which way we go in the fork in the road. Do you know what I'm talking about? So I'm going to take you on a trip down memory lane real quick, okay? And I'm going to close with this. Listen, in the late 1950s, there were rooms like this all over the country, and there was a guy named Ray Kroc. And Ray Kroc was talking about this opportunity, right, to franchise fast food. And for only $900 tonight, you could get in on the ground floor of McDonald's and get your own restaurant. And we're going to change the way that the world eats, and we're going to make a ton of money, and this is going to be incredible, right? And guess what? All those people, just like you all, sitting in that room in the late 1950s with Ray Kroc, were thinking to themselves, man, this could be it. This could be what I've been looking for. This could be awesome. I've been looking to get out of my job anyways, right? I've been looking to do something. This could be wonderful. And Ray Kroc says, who's in? And guess what? Everybody in that room was telling Ray Kroc, Ray, this sounds incredible. This could be awesome. But can I have a day or two to go home and think about it? Right? They want to go home and think about it. And then they go home, and what happens? Right? Little Timmy took off his diaper and peed all over the carpet. Right? And tomorrow is 3 games of soccer. Right? Okay? Monday's back to work. Tuesday's bowling. Right? And what happens? Life happens. Raise your hand in this room if you are not busy right now. Take a look around. 2 of you. 3. Okay. 3 of you out of 500 people are not busy. Right? Listen, we all have a great reason not to do this, right? It's called life. Okay? And so, what did the people that went home to think about, what did they do about that opportunity? Did they tell them no? No, they didn't tell them no. They just let him pass by. I'm doing okay. Things are all right. I can pay my bills. How many of you who know about Ray Kroc and McDonald's would gladly go back and give them $900 for one? Right? How many of you don't raise hands? We might have to have a test tomorrow to make sure they qualify to come in here. There's a lot of questionable folks out in here today. Okay? Right? That's called a would've, could've, should've opportunity, right? Kicking yourself for having done that. Fast forward. It's the mid-1970s. You meet a guy named Steve Jobs. He's talking about these things called computers. You're like, I've never heard of that before. He says, don't worry, one day it'll be big. Right? You'll all have it. Right? We're going to change the way the world does things. And listen, I got a bunch of guys making these things in my garage. Right? And we got so many orders, it's coming in so fast, we have exceeded our line of credit. Right? And I have to pay payroll tomorrow. I need $3,000 now. You give me $3,000, I'll give you 10% of the company, I'll pay you back in 30 days. I just need a bridge till we get the 5, but I got some orders that need to go. Guess what? You all would have told Steve Jobs, man, Steve, that could be a great opportunity. I've been looking for something like this. I hate my job anyways. Maybe this could be my thing, right? But can I have a day or two to go home and think about it? And we go home, and what happens? Little Timmy pees on the floor again. Right? Life happens. Life happens, right? Things go on. Someone gets busy. We got a deadline at work. Someone's not feeling well in the family. Church event. And what do? Do we tell Steve Jobs no? No. Right? We don't want to think that about ourselves, right? Poor is passing over opportunities repeatedly, right? We're not one of those people, okay? Right? We have the best intention. We're going to get around to it, but do we ever get around to it? And that opportunity does what? It passes us by. How many of you who know about Steve Jobs and Apple would gladly go back and give that fella $3,000 for 10% of the company? You'd only be worth $50 billion today. No big deal, right? That's called a double oops. Okay? Would've, could've, should've, right? Fast forward again. It's 1983. You meet a guy named Bill Gates. Yeah. And he says, hey, remember those computers? You're like, yeah, let me tell you about that, right? I screwed that one up big time. He says, I have an opportunity for you.